is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Why do I like that so much? Why do I like that so much? You come here for transformative commentary. And I'm just like, ooh, the way it makes my brain tickle is nice. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Bees. And if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that we've kind of done an unofficial, official dive into 21 Pilots. I've done it the completely wrong way, I'll be honest with you. So a lot of the time where we do a journey into an artist or a band's discography, we do it chronologically, right? From the first album all the way to the last, you know, if that's what we're doing. But I have not done that at all with 21 Pilots, but it hasn't really left me wanting too much else. I've been really enjoying a lot of what we've heard from them. So obviously we've heard Blurry Face, we've heard Trench, and then we did the new release, Breach, which I liked quite a bit. It was kind of very overstimulating a lot, but I think it all goes back to, you know, Josh and Tyler are just so talented for the most part, between their compositions, the production, and the narratives, even though I am still a little lost on what the fuck is actually going on with a lot of these narratives. But today we continue that journey, and we do kind of go back in time. So like I said, we just did Breach, and we will be doing the release right before that, which is CLANCY. Now, I know a lot of you have told me to react to CLANCY, and some people in my just personal life that I've been talking to and I've met or found out that they were 21 Pilots fans. And I don't know if just my ear wasn't to the ground a lot before we started reacting to 21 Pilots here on the channel. But this seems to be a rather celebrated and even very highly regarded 21 Pilots album. People have said that CLANCY is, quote, far and away the best 21 Pilots album. And, you know, for me, it was Blurry Face. Blurry Face was just so goddamn good. The hits on that record were so good. Even though I thought maybe Trench, maybe from a narrative standpoint, was a better album just from start to finish, whereas maybe I just like some of the individual songs on Blurry Face a lot more. And then Breach was just a fucking party. But I'm really excited to get into this today. Please do let me know your thoughts on my thoughts as we go through this album. And of course, with 21 Pilots, there's a lot of narrative. There's a lot of other things going on. We're not watching the music videos here, so it's just going to be the album today. So please do let me know if I'm not picking up on anything, if there's anything there that I really need to know. If you want to catch this reaction along with all the other reactions that I've done, uncut, and even before they come out on YouTube, go ahead and check out my Patreon where you can get exactly that for just $1. All right, so this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is CLANCY, apparently far and away the best 21 Pilots album. We'll see how true that is. Fairly succinct, 47 minutes, 18 seconds. I feel like that's one of the shorter ones that we've done as of late. It doesn't usually... It shouldn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but like the difference between like a 40-minute, 45-minute, I guess sub 50-minute album, as opposed to like an hour-long album, there is quite a bit of a difference there. You can get a lot out of those 15 minutes. But we've seen 21 Pilots use their time very effectively, incredibly dense compositions, and again, the lore, all of that. But I think it's finally time that we get into CLANCY by 21 Pilots. This came out last year in 2024. 13 songs, 47 minutes, 18 seconds. This is Overcompensate.
sake, did the years seem way too short for my so-corazon? Way too short for my so-corazon. The days feel this way you react, acting gobsmacked, don't hesitate to maybe overcompensate. I said I fly by the dangerous hit to maybe overcompensate.
All right, so that was Overcompensate, and I didn't know that I'd heard this before. I'm wondering if there's like a radio edit that doesn't have all this stuff in the intro, where it would actually be quite a shorter song. If that was the case, I couldn't tell you where the hell I've heard this chorus before, but I think the chorus is really the focal point of the song. Probably my favorite part of the song after that switch up when we go to, that's not even halftime. I don't know what it was. It's Josh doing crazy shit on the drums. You know what I mean? All right, yeah. So there is a radio edit of this, and I had to have heard that before. That takes a lot of the Deutsch and Espanol out of the intro here, but no, I like this one quite a bit. I don't know. It's one of those things where you really got to check your expectations at the door, because I'm hearing so many great things about this record in particular from 21 Pilots. And I mean, they do have this ability to just set a really nice tone. Trench being, I think, a great example of how they've been able to, stretch out that tone and making consistent throughout the length of any given record. But here it's really giving me a lot of anticipation for what's to come next. I feel like the song kind of built, especially from the beginning, and that's kind of easy to do at the start of an album. But they're not wasting their time here. I really do think that this is very intentional, the way it's kind of making me anticipate what's to come. We'll see where that gets us. Obviously, we have, I think, a lot of references to the narrative, to the lore. Welcome back to Trench. I know you guys have told me what Silo Felina has meant in the past. I forget what that means. Please do let me know and remind me. And, talking about how he's Clancy, right? All this other stuff. It's called the metric modulation, so the beat of the triplet becomes the quarter note beat. Bro, are they math rock? 21 Pilots math rock confirmed. First part, I created this world, is sampled from Bandito. I liked Bandito a lot, actually. Lyrics at the start are the lyrics. Oh, okay. So the lyrics at the top are just lyrics from Bandito from Trench, which was, I think, one of the bigger songs for me off of that album. I still don't know what math rock is. Don't you tempt me with a good time, Ash. But no, liking where this is going so far. All right, so we'll move on here. Hopefully I won't hear any other songs that I'm familiar with, but knowing 21 Pilots, you never know. Next semester.
I don't wanna be here. It's a taste test of what I hate less. Can you die of anxiousness? What I was wearing, the yellow dashes in the street. I prayed those lights would take me home. Then I heard, hey kid, get out of the road. The pressure in my chest. I don't wanna be here. What's about to happen? What's about to happen? I remember
I really appreciated this one a lot. A few different ways here. So this like really more stripped down punk sound that we get out of them at first. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how refreshing is this? You know, it's just 21 Pilots being as simple and straightforward as possible when it comes to the composition of it. And I knew that wasn't going to last very long, and it didn't. But it's still really nice to hear that out of them, at least through the bulk of the song. And they didn't do, like, too much. Obviously, they're doing a lot with the vocals and some other elements within the chorus. But then by the time, like, I'm expecting it to build up. It's build up, build up, build up, just giving me, like, this crazy drop. And they drop us with this acoustic guitar that takes us and rests us down right at the very end. And because I'm hearing the punk sounds and the punk beat and that kind of attitude, you know, typically, you know, true punk, quote unquote, those songs are very quick, sometimes under 2 minutes. And so for a punk song, this is like a 19-minute odyssey. But it's not a punk song. It's a 21 Pilot song. So they're going to put their flavors in where they can. As far as placement goes, how this album's progressing, very short sample size. This is only the second song. But I was going to say, like, at the start of the first song, Overcompensate, there's this, like, influence they have that I don't think I've ever clocked before. From, like, The Prodigy, like, Stabbing Westward, those kind of, like, electronic bands from the 90s into the early 2000s that I don't think I'd ever really clocked as an inspiration or as maybe influences of 21 Pilots. And I only say that because this sounds very different from the first song. End of the song sounds very different from the top of the song, and it's just one song. But I mean, that's just what they do, right? They can only be pigeonholed to themselves. All the guitar sounds Next Semester are made with ukulele. There were no guitars used for Next Semester, which is what the fuck do you what? Those are ukuleles that they just distorted. All what? That doesn't even make sense to me though. That's lies. Those are lies. That's fake news. Breaking news. You're full of shit. Hey guys, this is Editing Bees, and I just thought I'd remind you that sometimes there is actual breaking news outside of the jokes that I make on my channel. And when it comes to that, if it's something really important, really pressing, really time sensitive, I need a way to cut through the noise. And that's why I just want to talk a little bit about our partners at Ground News. Ground News helps me sift through the noise of partisan nonsense by combining news from around the world in one place so you can compare the political biases therein for yourself. For every news source, you can see if they have a political bias, how reliable their reporting is, and perhaps most importantly, who owns them. Their blind spot feature is probably my favorite aspect of Ground News, as it highlights news that may be disproportionately covered by just one side of the political spectrum. I find that Ground News is the perfect tool to get you thinking freely about the news coverage that inundates our timelines and really our daily lives. Click the link in my description to get 40% off the Vantage subscription to Ground News, which unlocks unlimited article access, ownership data, and factuality ratings. Remember, your subscription not only helps my channel, but it also supports Ground News as they make the media landscape more transparent and keep you more well-informed. Again, click the link in my description to get 40% off the Vantage subscription for Ground News. Now, back to the video. Anyway, we're moving on here. Backslide.
Rap race, place to place, adding weight.
Tendencies on repeat and it
Benefit from a shoe with no lace.
leading me anywhere.
I don't wanna backslide to where I've started from. There's no chance.
Time reach my hand above the tide. I'll take anything you have. If you could throw me a line, go. It's over my head.
Bad place on $100 base. A guy used to be the champion of a world you can't see. Now I'm drowning in logistics. I don't wanna backslide to where I've started from.
The tide, I'll take anything you have. If you could throw me a line, I should have loved you back. If you could throw me a line, I should have loved you better. Do you think that now's the time you should let?
some tasteful doot-doots at the end of a song. Yeah. Yeah. Why the fuck not? You know, there's this weird balancing act that comes with it sometimes where you want to write a ballad or a song that kind of sounds like a ballad, but it's still like poppy and head boppy. And that's what this one was. You know, I like it could have done so much. Actually, I think it would have done just as well. A lot slower, maybe just piano bass or maybe just a couple other instruments here. But instead, it's still 21 Pilots. It's still a little poppy. It still has that driving kind of beat to it. But with subject matter that I think would work well in any other kind of like ballad in a more traditional sense. So really, this is, you know, a concept we've seen from 21 Pilots in the past. And I don't want to say this is necessarily a negative thing because I think the best of artists will do this a lot, which is just go back into the bank of themes that you've kind of run through before, but maybe in a new way. So that's kind of what I'm getting here. You know, this idea of growth or maybe lack of growth or regret, basically just really looking at where you've come from and, you know, has that journey been worth it? And I don't want to go back to that place, or maybe it was simpler back then. And it's one of those where I think, I don't know if there's any explicit mention or references to the lore here, but to me this works just as well for anybody who's maybe a little bit more pensive on those thoughts and maybe in their life feels as though, you know, like I'm either at a precipice right here, or like I am proud of where I've come from, or I'm not necessarily that proud, you know, or at least I'm just so afraid to go back there. This is why I just have to keep my head down and keep going forward. Hence backslide. You don't want to backslide. So you don't want to go back if you can't help it. But sometimes there isn't stopping gravity, right? There's just nothing that's going to stop gravity from sometimes. You just got to pick yourself up and move ahead. So I guess from a lyrical standpoint, this one's hitting me the most so far. Short sample size, I know. But yeah, straightforward, easy to kind of wrap my head around. Knowing this, that it was a little bit more straightforward. I really do expect this next one to break the hell out of my neck, but we'll see. Anyway, we're moving on. Midwest Indigo.
Reaching out on my way home. You've been so good, I'll try again. You make me sad and second guess myself. Though you could be so cold, Midwest Indigo. Running late, so I didn't have the time. Scrape the frosted windshield like my belly scraping by. Concentrate. Did you pull up yet? Not yet. Did you forget we're tight on time? Reaching out on my own. Cloud coverage match my outfit to a knife. I requested counsel with the counselor and he canceled twice. It's a different blue, it's deeper than it's been. Hey, 2 minutes. Chill out, man, we're right on time. Reaching out on my own. And I want love in sunny days. I'm a bit too old to run away. You make me sad and second guess myself. You can be so cold.
All right, just a little bit of fun indie pop. Kind of was not as chaotic as I had initially hypothesized, but fun nonetheless. Really enjoyed some of the melody Tyler was using here, especially
And he canceled twice.
twice. I don't know what it is about that I loved that. That was I'm gonna run it back.
Twice.
What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Why do I like that so much? Why do I like that so much? You come here for transformative commentary, and I'm just like, ooh, the way it makes my brain tickle is nice. That's all I got. That's all I got for this. Scratch this part of my brain. I know. Heavily featured drumming and a piano. That's like textbook 21 Pilots. That is a chapter of the 21 Pilots textbook. is how to use drums and piano together at the same time. And the picture is Midwest Indigo. But yeah, no, not a ton else to say here other than it gets really cold in the Midwest. Like last winter, I walked across like 300 feet of Lake Erie because it was just frozen solid. And I was like, fuck this, I'm walking to Canada. I didn't walk to Canada, but you could have. Somebody did that once. Actually, this should be the next Christmas anthem. Move over, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey is chopped. Mariah Carey go to prison? I don't know. All right, moving on. Routines in the night.
Walk the layout, routines in the night. Some doors have stay outs. Routines in the night. Some doors have stay outs. Spray painted and white while all the world's asleep. I walk around instead through the memory. Oh, you why? Walk the layout, routines in the night. Some doors have stay outs. Spray painted and white while cycle, skip night, psycho trip. It's reassuring you keep coming around. It's tough to find good company. Recurring days blurring. I'm still learning what's time. I'll give you the tour, show you why. I'll show you why. I'll show you why. Walk the layout, routines in the night. Some doors have stay out. Spray painted and white.
Oh, is that Vessel? Got some Sleep Token vibes to end it right here. So, yeah, I said we got some Sleep Token vibes here because it seems that Tyler just turned his voice down a few semitones during this Lost in the Halls of My Head bit right here. And, you know, we had somebody in the chat say that, let's see, the one thing about 21 Pilots is that they know how to make a good hook every time. And I'd read that as the song was going on. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know about this one. And then the hook comes back, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I think that is an example of just two guys that know themselves very well, and they know what works for them, and they don't really waver. And I think usually that's kind of a problem sometimes over a long enough discography, because shit can get kind of stale. But they pick, like, you know, with Blurry Face or even with Breach, you know, they're just using and pulling from so many different genres, you know, Ride being kind of like a reggae beat kind of thing, and they take influences from indie music. You know, I've said that they kind of sound like the Killers at sometimes, and even this stream I've said, you know, like the Prodigy and shit like that. You know, they're like these, like, you know, fast-paced electronic acts from the 90s. So when you pull influence from so many different genres and from so many different artists, it is hard to become stale, which I think is a good problem to have. Now, I think the other side of that coin is, you know, maybe it's a little too chaotic. It's not as directed as something else might be. It's not as consistent as something else might be. But I think they have this sound that's very consistent. I mean, you can't listen to a 21 Pilots song, not know what it is, and not go like, does it sound like 21 Pilots? I think this is 21 Pilots. And also, so far with this, I don't know what I'm really getting myself into, because I think I still have Breach in the mind. You know, I just thought that Breach it just had so much going on, where this one's a lot more reserved. Now, reserved for 21 Pilots might be, you know, any other band's just going crazy and off the wall here. But these last couple songs have really been a lot more down to earth in terms of the composition, which is usually a little bit crazier. They're still getting in what they got to get in as a band, as 21 Pilots would. But it's a lot calmer than I was expecting it to be, which is good. They are also inspired by mental illness and death. Actually, all right, so this next one's Vignette. I don't know if I've heard this one. I didn't think I had heard Overcompensate. I know that there is still a 21 Pilots song that I hear out in the wild all the time, and I don't know what the hell it is or why it's there. I submitted the music video. Okay, so we have heard this one before. This isn't the one I've heard out in the wild, though. This is not the one I've heard out in the wild. We've heard this on our paid reaction streams. Make sure that you follow me here on YouTube or for free on my Patreon to see when I'm doing those. It's a great way to discover new music, and it's a great way to get one of your favorite songs in front of my face in real time. And I knew that we had reacted to one of the songs on this album on that stream. So this is going to be like the second time in less than a month that I've heard this one. But that was the music video. I like reading along with the lyrics. Maybe we catch a little bit more with this next listen. The eagle scream is so good.
Long enough for heat to pitch the greener grasses and hope that she would agree. Fresh off a binger in the woods, flesh covered in bites. Testing what is real, what is good. Do I go from here? Clinging to promises, fighting off the vignette. Tunnelscape, visions fade. He found him fresh off a binger in the woods, flesh covered in bites. Testing what is real, what is good. Where do I go from here? Clinging to promises, fighting off the vignette. Tunnelscape, visions. No, not me, it's for a friend. Denial.
I'm going to be completely real with you. I think this is an S tier 21 Pilots song. I really do. Yeah, I got a lot out of this listen. So we did listen to this a couple weeks ago on a paid reaction stream. Obviously, we don't get Josh's face in the snow in this one, but the music video for this is kind of iconic. It's just him walking around in the snow. You know what I mean? Which is why I like looking at lyrics rather than the music video. I think most of the time I get more out of the lyrics that way. There's just less shit going on. And I like this idea of maybe using the vignette as, this idea of maybe losing yourself or losing this image of yourself that you have in your mind. Maybe it's like a self-image thing. But, it's the outline's there, but everything else is shadowed. It's black. It's undefined. So you're trying to fight that off. Tunnels cave, visions fade, swallowed by the vignette. Now, no, it's not me. It's for a friend. Something you're asking for something, but you don't want to admit that you need it, whether or not that's help, because it seems as though as a result of this vignetting, as a result of, becoming less defined, it's a tribute to the zombies of which I've become. So you're not even Tyler in this case. You just are. You're just this vessel walking through space. I really, really, really love the chorus here. Just those hard beats, dun, 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 dun. Along with the falsetto here, he absolutely nailed the vocal performance on this.
Clinging to promises.
I mean, that is so catchy. Goes back to the whole, say what you will about 21 Pilots, but they know how to write a hook. And, it's a little bit repetitive. They do call upon that chorus maybe one or two more times, and I think maybe you should, just because it is a little bit longer. But it's so goddamn good that I don't care. That's just what it is. You come here for me to be honest with you. I'm being fucking honest with you. Yeah, and again, like, apologies that I'm not much of a music video guy. I've heard more so with any other album, and please do tell me if I'm wrong here, that Clancy's music videos matter way more. Because there's a music video for every song on this album, correct? That is this album, as I've come to understand it. I could be wrong, as I often am. Actually, no, I'm not wrong. I'm not always right. I'm just never wrong. So that could not be right. The Craving, Jenna's version. So is this an obligatory love song?
Now I see intentions don't mean much. say enough. Did I let her know if I found my hope? She looks for me. She just wants to catch a wave, ride it out to the end of her days. I hope that I can say she ate the craving. I'd lay down and wait and hope she looks for me. And hope she looks for me. But I swear that I will give more than I take away. Now I see intentions don't mean much.
So that was our obligatory love simp song here. I'll be honest with you. I know that there's like a song about Jenna, right? That's her name. That's Tyler's lady. In like every album, this one hits me the least. However, if we look at the track listing, this one comes halfway through the album. 21 Pilots knows how to pace out an album. I think that's one of their strong suits. That's why they're a very good album band. Some bands are not album bands. I think some bands try to be album bands and they're just not. 21 Pilots is through and through. So as far as pacing goes, as far as song placement goes, fantastic. You know, when you are looking at the album as a whole, as we do for all of my reactions, you know, as we're looking at the album in a whole, I am looking at individual songs not as individual songs alone, but individual songs and how they play out to the broader picture, to the broader sense of pacing and the journey of how we get to the first song to the last song. And here it's a little bit slower. Actually, it's a lot slower than all the other songs. All the songs in general have been a little bit slower, a little bit more contained. So I think this one really helps to maybe stop the action about halfway through. Maybe something changes sonically where we get into maybe some of that more overstimulating kind of stuff from them. But at any point, you know, if this is the slowest that it gets, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. A lot of people are saying that Lavish is a huge song, so maybe that kind of maybe carries on the vibe that we're into with the Craving here, or Lavish just goes crazy. I don't know. If I had to bet money, I think they're about to break my neck. So we're getting into a big one here. At 2 minutes and 38 seconds, Lavish seems to be a big favorite amongst the fans. So we'll give that one a spin.
Welcome to the new way of living. It's just the beginning of Lavish. Welcome to the style you haven't seen in a while. It's Lavish. Has to look like this is not your first time. You're fighting for the front row, that's a nice try. You're looking real nice, smelling like worth, walking like you deserve it. And if your feet are hurt, welcome to the new way of living. It's just the beginning of Lavish. From the floor to the ceiling, it's lavish. Flex Napoleon, I say whatever and whatever that I want. Sip a Capri Sun like it's Dom Perignon. I'm talking tough happily with someone in front of me. Room on the payroll, everyone can live comfortably.
You know, let's talk about expectations here, right? I just reacted, but the most recent 21 Pilots album that we reacted to before this one was Breach. That was the new release. Very chaotic. Loved it. It was a party. I love it when they get overstimulating and, you know, just absolutely crazy, and they go hog wild. I think 21 Pilots goes hog wild than a lot of other bands because they can and they do it so well. Again, I can see if, you know, that is maybe a little annoying to you, but also you probably don't have fun and you're a miserable person. That's just me saying that. I'm not always right, but I'm never wrong. And it's really interesting to see this album kind of play out because with this song, you know, in addition to, oh my God, like, in addition to the Craving especially, this is really more of a stripped down 21 Pilots album. And I knew that there were elements on Breach that made it a lot slower, but I think given that I felt that that one was a lot more narrative focused and it maybe called a little bit more upon the listener to really dive deep and to find the meaning of things, lyrically, this one is coming across a lot more accessibly, in addition to just being, I think, all around easier to listen to. I mean, this one was just fun, right? It gave Lavish, you know, it seems as though like they're almost like too cool to do their regular 21 Pilot stuff in this song, so it's giving like nose in the air, right? But at the same time, they know where they came from. Sip a Capri Sun like it's Don Perignon. Reminds me of if anybody's ever listened to Watsky before, there's his song Cardboard Castles, where it's like, you know, he doesn't need a lot to be happy. And, you know, just in how that ties into, you know, try to not get a big head on yourself. Big flex, complex Napoleon. Breach was the conclusion of the lore, so it called back to the previous album, so the lyrics were more complex, I suppose. Not even. I thought the compositions were also just kind of crazy. Insane how this song is only one chord, but it's a banger. I think a lot of that has to do with Tyler's vocals here. Just this, like, his white boy rapping is just that. He's not trying to do anything more than what he's been doing, I think, for the length of their entire career. Maybe I haven't listened to the earlier ones as much, but it all seems quite consistent. Because if you don't necessarily have a ton going on in the chords and the instrumentation, you have a lot going on with Tyler. So yeah, I mean, this is really quite something out of them. I don't know how to feel, because I mean, look, you judge a book by its cover. The album cover looks to be just like very chaotic, like they're basically on fire or deformed or obscured in vision. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. The proctologist line got people wondering. Ass man. That's all. Navigating.
Self-esteem then turns so cold. Pardon my delay, I'm navigating, don't know how long it's been since I responded to your question. If you really want to know what I'm thinking, kind of feels like everybody leaves. Navigating my head, give me some advice. I am wasting all this time.
Okay. So that was Navigating, and I would say a great change of pace. Picking it back up. I don't know how to deal with this album, man. Like, I am liking it a lot, but it's so weird. I feel like this is the weirdest one, just given how this is progressing through all the songs, when they decide to keep it down, when they decide to bring it back up. And I like how I'm hoping we get a little bit more higher tempo stuff like this. At least for a few songs to finish out the album. This one right here, it's all Josh for me, you know, and I've said this before on the channel that I don't think drummers can overplay the drums. I know some people say, you know, this drummer drums too much, or, you know, that fill was unneeded. I think Josh needs to drum more. I think he needs to over drum more. I don't think I can ever get enough of him doing whatever the fuck he does. His, like, big thing is just hitting the snare really hard and fast. And he did a lot of that here. And I want him to do that more. I want him to just beat the piss out of the drums all the time. I want him to show up Tyler in every single song. That's just me. And I think it says perhaps more about how I just like to listen to drums and songs rather than just Josh. But I think Josh has got it in him. Josh convinced Tyler to include this in routines in the night on the album because he originally didn't want to. Well, good. This one is Tyler's least favorite on the album. Yeah, well, because Tyler's mad that he can't drum. Idiot. Fucking stupid. Snapback. Oh, the goes gravity.
Snap next and I gotta snap back. Got a bad feeling I'm gonna lose the lead. Running from a thing that I kept in 17. Is it even right for my head to keep track? If I'm gonna snap next then I gotta snap back.
Backslide, I commandeered a hard ride. Drove it till the engine died. All of that progress.
Even good for my head to keep track. If I'm gonna snap next then I gotta snap back. Got a bad feeling I'm gonna lose the lead. Running from a thing that show. Guess I better move to a fresher approach.
It's a new adaptation. I have seemed to run out of excuses of why I am this way.
Got a bad feeling that I'm about to break. And I gotta snap back.
I've been praying for my elasticity to return to.
Yes, correct. But no, I love the composition here, and I also love the callback to a song earlier in the album. I feel as though this is the part 2 to Backslide, right? That was the name of the song? Yeah, I feel like this is the I feel like this is the part 2 to Backslide, and kind of revisiting that theme with a little bit more detail, with a little bit more information here. Running from that thing that I kicked in 17. So we're talking about this journey that we've come. You know, we've left this place, or we left this way of life, or this habit, this thing that I don't want to go back to, and I'm here now. But the weight of everything, the pressures overweight. Are you gonna snap? You know, are you going to go back to that? And it's that struggle to put your head down and keep moving forward, but realizing that you're human and that you may screw up at some point. I don't know if this I'm going to snap next relays into the lore at all, because, you know, there is this war of search, this kind of like rebellion, you know, to kind of escape the city that they're in. So maybe using the lore as a way to relate to things in your own life. You know, I talk about this band every now and then on the channel, but like Coheed and Cambria, one of my favorite bands, you know, the lead singer-songwriter Claudio Sanchez found it very difficult to write about things in his personal life. So what he did was that he basically made this sci-fi rock opera that spans across his, you know, the entire discography of that band, and it just makes it easier for him to write about things in his own life if he kind of fictionalizes it in a way. And I think it's not as apparent with 21 Pilots outright. I think if you watch the music videos, if you engage with a lot of the supplemental material, you do get that out. Whereas I think Coheed, it's a little bit more apparent, especially with the album covers, for God's sakes. But that's what it's calling me back to that. I like the callback to the song earlier in the album. I think this is giving me a little bit of the lore. I could be wrong with that, though. The music video for Snapback is Tyler cosplaying Dobby. All right, well, maybe I didn't do that well on the interpretation. I mean, I'd say overall it's not a heavy lore album, despite the title. Yeah, I again, I haven't brought this up. I don't think... I mean, obviously, you guys haven't been saying a lot about the lore, but I was going to say that I don't think that there's a ton of lore here. At least from track to track. That's if I'm gonna snap necks, that's how I interpret it. Like, okay, is this part of that battle that they're fighting, or does Tyler really think he's gonna snap some necks? So we're moving on. Last 3 songs, we got Oldies Station. People were saying that it's kind of unfair to have this and Snapback back to back, but we'll see.
Only consistency in your periphery is fear in the bridge of your nose. And as you move about, you learn to tune them out. But they say they continue to make an oath and make mistakes. Start a streak you're bound to break when darkness rolls on you. Push on through. Push on through. Relative pain. Little less concern when there's nothing in the tank. In a season of lessons learned and giving up, you'll feel your eyes adjust when darkness rolls on you. Push on through. Push on through. You don't quite mind how long red lights are taken. Push on through. Your favorite song was on days. Start a streak you're bound to break. Darkness rolls.
You know, we got Will here in the chat saying that this might be the most mature 21 Pilots song, and lyrically, this might be one of my favorite ones. I don't know. You know, I really appreciate, you know, this is where I start headcanon here. So obviously I, you know, made that comment that Snapback may have had some reference to the lore. You guys kind of explaining to me that really the only like heavy lore songs would be Overcompensate, Navigating, and Paladin Strait, if any of them. Not a very lore heavy album, but a very personal album to Tyler, as it was explained to me. And I do like this 3-song kind of triad, for lack of a better word, between Backslide, Snapback, and Oldies Station, because I feel like those 3 songs play together quite nicely, especially because this one right after Snapback, again, he's talking about this struggle of not wanting to go back, but here it's Oldies Station. He's telling people in his life, you the fans, and probably he needed to hear these words himself and to hear him say these words like, no, you just got to push on through. Only consistency in your periphery is fear and the bridge of your nose. Like, because, like, you know, fear, it oftentimes, you know, it's not always something right in front of your face. You know, obviously when you're in danger, you can recognize that, but fear sometimes is internal. You're afraid of things you can't see necessarily, or things that are on the side of you that aren't right in front of you. Whereas most times that there is a clear path in front of you to push on. I really like that line a lot. I really like that songwriting. Make an oath, then some mistakes, start a streak you're bound to break. Like, it doesn't matter, like you're going to fuck up. The only thing that matters is that you're making an effort to move on, because that's better from where you came from. You know, staying still if you've made progress is better than going back. And of course, you know, it's still the most restrained 21 Pilots album that I've heard so far. We got 2 songs left. I doubt that's going to change. But keeping consistent with that, everything's falling on my ears quite well. I kind of now see the error of my ways and not maybe doing a proper album journey with 21 Pilots as far as doing everything chronologically, because I could imagine listening to this and then listening to Breach going, what the fuck is this? For me, this album is lore, but it is a character breakdown on the protagonist CLANCY, most personal album because it's a breakdown on Tyler. Yeah, this one, it's not like, maybe it's like, you know, I'm 14 and this is deep. You know, it's maybe people could roll their eyes at this. But for me, with really letting this album into my heart, I really like it for just the connection between Backslide, Snapback, and Oldies Station. Maybe we'll get some more out of that, more out of those ideas, but we'll see how it goes. All right, moving on. We got The Risk of Feeling Dumb. At the Risk of Feeling Dumb.
I don't want anyone, know me or not. See me at my lowest, you don't have to drop. Don't used to be you and me, matching Kawasaki Z's. Right around 270 in Kawasaki T's. Two fighter jets, matching energy. Trying to forget that we're in ejection seats. So please, keep it in mind. I don't want anyone, know me or not. See me at my lowest, you don't have to drop. Don't have to drop like nothing you can do this time. I don't want anything for me, just keep your plans. I hope that you never have to drop. At the risk of feeling dumb, check it. To a weapon you conceal, man. Those night terrors are not something to take lightly. I know that it's a risk saying this, don't fight me. I don't want anyone, know me or not. See me at my lowest, you don't have to drop. Keep your plans, I hope that you never have to drop. At the risk of feeling dumb, check it. I don't want anyone, know me or not. See me at my lowest, you don't have to.
At the Risk of Feeling Dumb. So it is something that comes after, I think it's kind of interesting that this comes after Oldies Station, because here's Tyler, or Clancy, right? Whether you want to see it as the character or with Tyler, I think this album has proven to be a personal of enough effort for you to just say that it's Tyler here, right? Because it's all coming from him anyway, where he's kind of helped himself in his own struggle and helped kind of boost himself up. He's saying, I just got to push on through, to where he's kind of extending the lessons that he's learned, hopefully to some other people, to his friends. At the risk of feeling dumb, check in on a friend, because you don't know, right? You don't know where they are. About you sleeping so close to a weapon you conceal, man. And you can look at that a couple ways, where you can look at that as quite literally with, a weapon that somebody might use on themselves, like in a very literal sense, but maybe a weapon as like a state of mind, right? Where sometimes you are the most dangerous weapon around to yourself. I mean, self-inflicted anything is, criminally underrated. Maybe we spend, some people spend a lot of time being afraid of other people, and some people are afraid of themselves even. So that's why I think that this works really well coming out of Oldies Station, just from those lessons that we learned. So it makes sense to kind of, give back in that way, to look at what you've learned and hopefully bring some of that beauty out in other people. Let your heart be open to others, as I have let my heart open to Clancy. W. Open Carry. I'm going to have quite a bit to say about it at the end, but we'll get to the end right after this. This is Paladin Strait, 6.5 minutes long. Let's go.
I can't be alone. Guess I never told you so. Making my way towards you. Tracing out a line. Expectations that I'm gonna make it. Standing on the shore, staring down a hurtling storm. I would swim the Paladin Strait without any flotation, just
This shit isn't real.
On the ground are banditos, fighting while I find Nico, even though I'm past the point of no return.
So few, so proud, so emotional. Hello, Clancy.
What the fuck? Bro, I got fucking goosebumps. What the hell? Oh my god. I'll be completely honest with you folks. I don't know if I've ever been that in tune with the lore before, rather than just right there. That was terrifying. Okay, so that was a lot. But also, like, hardly anything at all. Okay, so, obviously, that is the perfect, transition into Breach. I think that works out quite well. I mean, give these guys a hand for their, narrative abilities, even though I don't really understand it all that much. But that's a me problem, not a you problem, and certainly not a 21 Pilots problem. I have such a way with words, that's why people come here, alright? All right, that's what I'm all about. I might as well just talk about the whole album as a whole right now. You know, knowing that so many people had said that this was the best 21 Pilots album, I really hyped it up a lot in my head, and especially coming after Breach, I really wanted to get more into that sound, especially, and, you know, always loving Blurry Face, not only for like what it meant for me listening to those singles when it came out, and just what kind of a moment that first really big 21 Pilots push really was. And we've heard Trench, right? I think I can understand why this might be somebody's favorite 21 Pilots album, or why they might consider it to be the best, because I think this album, really more than any other 21 Pilots album that we've listened to so far, showed just so much restraint. And I know that there were, like, especially like slower songs maybe on Trench as well, but Trench was a little all over the place too, talking about, like, you know, the Jaguars or the cheetah, right? Talking about the cheetah too, you know, just like some points that kind of took you out of it, but on the whole, like for narrative, Trench was what it was. But I think the slower, more restrained nature allowed for a lot more personal sensibilities to come through, and they certainly came through to me. I actually got a lot out of a few songs here. So obviously we just got through me talking about how Backslide, Snapback, and Oldies Station prove to be a really good narrative just from a personal basis for Tyler. He's struggling with not trying to go back. You know, all this shit happens. He's still struggling with it, but knows that he can just push forward in Oldies Station and extending that to other people. So it doesn't just end with him. He's the man in the mirror, Michael Jackson. Got to look at yourself and then make the change. And then also, I thought Vignette it's not only one of my favorite 21 Pilots songs, I think, to date, but, you know, this idea of, you know, having a defined shape, but not seeing really anything past that. You know, you kind of operate in this shadow, or you try to fight against that. And I thought, you know, Lavish brought some great levity, especially after a lot slower, obligatory love song that we get throughout all of these albums. But I think I can really point to the personal aspects of this album that really, really did a lot for me, and it's actually something that I haven't gotten out of this band. So coming here to see the best or the most favorite 21 Pilots album, you know, I'm expecting it to be chaotic. I'm expecting it to just have these crazy compositions. I'm expecting Josh to go crazy, and he does. But that's not the point of this album. I think you see so much personal growth as Tyler is as a person, and how, if you're really into the lore, that shapes up and sets up the lore and the narrative quite well, because we're getting to know Clancy a little bit. I think you can make the case that anytime you talk about Tyler, you're talking about Clancy, whether or not that is canon or whether or not that is head canon, whether that's just your own personal views on it or not. And they're doing it fairly succinctly. This is not a long album. Navigating was my absolute favorite track on this record. But if it means something to the narrative, then there's that. Paladin Strait was just terrifying. He's climbing up the tower. Show your face. Where are you at? And then just open the door. He's right there. Oh man. I can't tell you how many times we've streamed something and I've reacted to something where I get physical goose pimples on my arm. Some of the punk rock sensibilities, I was hoping that would have carried on a little bit more, but I think as we got through the album, I didn't think I'd say this, I really appreciated a slower, more methodical take. And it wasn't the most methodical. We didn't get grandiose soundscapes or anything like that. I'd say the production was about on par with everything else that we've heard from 21 Pilots, but I mean, they're quite good, and I'm not going to belabor the point on that so much. You've heard me talk endlessly on how talented they are from a production standpoint. Yeah, if anything else, there's no absolute bangers for me like there was on Blurry Face. There isn't this narrative that's spun as strongly as it was in Trench. It wasn't as overstimulating as Breach was at times for me. Instead, I feel like I got to know Tyler a little bit more, and I think using a little bit less focus on the lore paid dividends in that way. I think he said he wanted to release Breach as a version of Clancy, not a full album of just extra songs, until somebody pointed out that it sounds like a deluxe album. He didn't like that idea and just decided to make a full album, which Breach is now. Oldies Station, I'd say, is my second favorite 21 Pilots song. Yeah, I think, Oldies Station, Snapback, Backslide, it might be hard for me to kind of differentiate between those going forward, just because I think they work so well together. And I think it's actually kind of genius to separate that story, because if you got or that journey for Tyler, because if you got Backslide, Snapback, all in Oldies Station all together, I think it would run a little bit stale. But to call it back over time, you know what I mean? Hey, get this, I'm still struggling with this shit, I want to push on, it's just really hard to do that. All this other shit happens. Hey, guess what? That's still the case. Hey, you know what? Something might change. Hey, friend, you doing okay? That all makes sense. That all makes a lot of sense. I like how that built. And I like Clancy, ladies and gentlemen.
It's good shit, pal.
So that was my reaction to Clancy by 21 Pilots. If me not doing this journey in order has angered you in some way, if I'm not doing it right, I do apologize, but I thought this was great. I definitely get why a lot of the fan base gravitate towards this album as being their favorite, or if they call it the best. If I got anything wrong, please do let me know down in the comments below. If you want to see any of my reactions before they come out on YouTube and uncut, go ahead and check out my Patreon. We can get exactly that for $1. Or if you're feeling extra spicy and you want to see us live, go ahead and click one of the other links down in the description to find just that. And I know if we kept reacting to 21 Pilots, we only have a handful of albums left, so if you want me to react to any other album from any other artist, or you want me to start a new journey, let me know. Maybe I'll get into it. Depends on how much you're clamoring for it, you know? If you just spam all of my comments just with like your favorite album, I take that into consideration sometimes. Burner accounts go a long way. With all that said, I've been Jerry Bees. You've been awesome. Take it easy.
Diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity dog.